I had just finished painting my ranch gate a deep forest green. It matched the surrounding pine trees perfectly, looked sharp, and gave the entrance a sturdy, classic look. To me, it was just a gate. To Karen, the HOA president, it was apparently a crime against humanity. The morning after I painted it, she stormed up my driveway like she owned the place, clipboard in hand. "This is unacceptable," she snapped, pointing at the gate. "The color is in violation of HOA standards. Gates must be neutral tones only: white, beige, or light brown." I chuckled. "Karen, this is my ranch, not your HOA subdivision." She scowled. "The HOA has jurisdiction over the entire neighborhood." "Really? Then why is my property deed clear of any HOA covenant?" I asked, pulling the document from my truck. Karen waved her hand dismissively. "Technicalities. Regardless, that gate is an eyesore. If you don't repaint it, the board will fine you." I just smiled. Good luck with that. The next week, I noticed she had been filing complaints nonstop. She called county zoning, claiming my gate obstructed visibility. She complained to the sheriff's office that it was a safety hazard. She even emailed the local paper, ranting that my gate destroyed property values. But every official gave her the same answer: "The man owns his ranch. Leave him alone." That didn't stop her. One afternoon, I came home to find Karen standing with 2 HOA board members at the gate, taking photos. "This monstrosity has to go," she hissed when she saw me. "We're taking legal action." I leaned against my truck. Funny, because I just filed paperwork of my own. Here's what Karen didn't know. A week earlier, after her first tantrum, I went down to the county records office. Turns out, a quirk in the boundary lines gave me partial ownership of a sliver of land that included, get this, the HOA clubhouse lot. It was a long-forgotten deed tied to my ranch that nobody had updated in years. Legally, it meant their precious clubhouse was built on my land. I got it confirmed, notarized, and filed. So when Karen stood there threatening me about my gate, I pulled out a copy of the updated deed and handed it to her. "You're worried about my gate color? Funny, because technically, Karen, your clubhouse belongs to me." Her face went pale. "That's impossible." "Read it," I said calmly. She called an emergency HOA meeting that night. People gathered, shouting at each other, demanding answers. Karen tried to rally them against me, but when I showed up with the county surveyor and deed documents, the room went silent. The surveyor cleared his throat. "It's true. The HOA clubhouse sits on land partially deeded to the rancher. Legally, he has rights to it." The entire board turned on Karen. "You mean you've been harassing him over a gate color?" One board member growled. "While our clubhouse sits on his property?" Karen stammered, trying to recover. But his gate. It doesn't match." Nobody cared anymore. They were too busy realizing she jeopardized their precious clubhouse. A week later, I drove my tractor down to the clubhouse, right past Karen, who was screaming in protest, and chained the front doors shut. A big sign hung across the entrance: "Private property, owner controlled. Access by permission only." Karen lost it in front of everyone. "You can't do this," she shrieked. I grinned. "Karen, this is what happens when you pick fights over a gate color." Since then, the HOA board has been trying to negotiate with me. They offered to buy the sliver of land back, but I'm in no rush. In the meantime, their precious meetings have to be held in a community park pavilion, with no AC, no kitchen, and plenty of mosquitoes. And every time I pass by, Karen glares at my dark green gate like it personally ruined her life, which, in a way, it did. Last year, I had to spend 6 months overseas for work. Before leaving, I made sure everything was secured, fences repaired, and cattle tended to. I had a ranch hand checking in weekly. Everything was in order. But when I returned, I didn't recognize my own land. Where my fields once stretched, there were rows of cookie-cutter houses, sidewalks, streetlights, driveways, and bright banners that read, "Welcome to Oak Ridge Estates, Phase 2. 138 brand new homes, built directly on my property." I nearly ran my truck off the road. I stormed straight to the HOA clubhouse, where Karen, the president, was sipping iced tea like a queen on her throne. "You've got 10 seconds to explain why there are houses on my land," I growled. Karen smiled sweetly. "Oh, don't be so dramatic. The developer decided to expand, and your ranch land was perfect. Don't worry, you'll be compensated once the sales finalize." My blood boiled. "You built on MY property without consent. That's trespass, fraud, and theft." Karen laughed. "You weren't using it. Now families will enjoy it. You should be thanking us." I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I just walked out because I knew something she didn't. See, the developer who originally built their subdivision? I'd gone to school with the CEO, and while the HOA thought they were cozy with him, they forgot one important detail. Their contracts only covered the lots already sold. They had zero rights to expand without purchasing new land. And they hadn't purchased mine, which meant every one of those 138 houses was sitting illegally on my ranch. I called the CEO. "Hey, you might want to check your records," I told him, "because your company just built phase 2 on land I still own." There was silence on the other end of the line, followed by a panicked, "What?" I sent him the deed, the surveys, and the aerial photos. Within hours, his legal team descended on the HOA like a pack of wolves. Turns out, the HOA board had forged documents claiming they had development rights. The contractor never verified ownership, they just built. That single mistake triggered one of the biggest lawsuits in county history. The HOA was sued for fraud. The developer sued them for damages. Homebuyers sued them for selling illegal lots. And me? I sued for land theft. In the end, the HOA was completely bankrupted. Karen and her board were personally liable for millions. Their homes were seized, their assets drained, and their reputations destroyed. As for the 138 new houses, the county condemned them. Some were bulldozed, others sat empty, rotting shells of a failed scam. My ranch hand and I tore down the cheap sidewalks and fences, and I reclaimed my land. Today, when I drive past that part of my ranch, it's peaceful again, just wide, open fields. A few remnants of driveways poke through the grass like scars, reminders of what Karen and her HOA tried to steal. They thought they could take my land while I was away. Instead, they lost everything, while I gained one of the most ironclad property rights cases in county history. My ranch stood long before their HOA, and it'll still be here long after they're gone.